Hello, hello, Singapore Indoor Stadium. How are we all feeling today? Okay, that's what I want to hear. And for those of you watching, welcome to Hyperplay, the very first of its kind ASEAN Festival of Music and Esports. My name is Hanley Hofer. I will be your host for the day. And next to me is shoutcast extraordinaire, Mr. Julian Pastry Time Carr.
Thank you, Hanley. I'm thrilled to be here in Singapore. But what began as over 700 teams from across Southeast Asia is now down to 4 fierce competitors that have risen above the rest and will fight on this very stage for the right to be called Hyperplay champions.
That's right, but it is more than just League of Legends happening right here. For MTV Spotlight will be taking over this very stage as we have our very own Singaporean, the Sam Willows, as well as a bunch of other international acts like CL, Afghan, we also have Slot Machine, we have Alessia Cara, and we also have Nick Jonas.
It's going to be an amazing weekend, so let's kick things off by meeting our first semi-finalists.
So from Malaysia, help me make some noise for the Kuala Lumpur Hunters.
Starting in the top lane, it's Shiro. In the jungle, Caspiel. Holding down the mid lane, it's RH. In the bot lane, Ozora Becky. And his support, Superior. Their sub, Panda, and their coach, Nian. Ladies and gentlemen, Team Malaysia.
Now, Singapore, please join us in welcoming their opponents all the way from the Philippines. Let's hear it for Acclaim Empire X.
In the top lane, Wok Wok. Roaming the jungle, Dodoy. In the mid lane, it's Kanji. Their AD carry, Clyde. His support, Karosu, and their coach, Naranjo.
Let's hear it one more time for our first semi-finalist. That's right, now the games are just minutes away, so why don't we check in at the Hyperplay analyst desk as the teams get ready to load on to the Summoner's Rift. Take it away, guys.
Thank you, Han Lee, and good afternoon, everyone. I'm Matthew Fish-Stewart here covering all of this weekend's League of Legends action. Alongside me, I also have our LPL analyst, Clement Chu, as well as our Southeast Asian and hometown hero of Mark Flavors Lee. Gentlemen, how you guys doing?
It's so good to be in the Merlion Nation. The food is great, the diversity is great, and best of all, we have some great games coming up. So if you're not here, you're missing out.
That's right. ASEAN esports, so many nations being represented. Am I even awake right now?
Well, it's great to have you guys on the desk with me today. And while we are only here at the Singapore Indoor Stadium for 2 days, the Hyperplay tournament has been going on for over 2 months. It all started with the open qualifiers in 10 countries here in Southeast Asia, with over 700 teams participating. From there, the top teams of each nation were split up into 2 groups based on regional strength. They played a best-of-1 round, a double round robin, where the winning team in each group, which were the Philippines as well as Vietnam, advanced directly to today's semi-final. To fill up the other 2 spots, the remaining 8 teams entered a King of the Hill style gauntlet, where we saw Singapore and Malaysia both advancing. These were the number 2 seeds from their original groups. Malaysia were able to beat Thailand in a very close game, and that would be fantastic for all the KLH fans, because that is revenge against Thailand after they lost to Ascension in the grand finals of the GPL.
Yeah, that's definitely revenge from them. The GPL Spring, everyone still remembers that. And can we just take a look at how many teams, how many regions are in this tournament right now? It truly is a multinational event and a celebration of the ASEAN overall.
Singapore also able to take down Indonesia to make it to this event as well. And that, of course, brings us to this amazing venue, home of the Hyperplay semi-finals and finals. We have the Philippines taking on Malaysia in our first match of today, and it's followed by the home team Singapore challenging tournament favorites of Vietnam in our second final match to see who will go into the grand finals tomorrow. Vietnam definitely looking like one of the favorites coming into this tournament.
Yeah, Singapore has such a tall task going up against these guys, but yet at the same time, let's remember, National Day is less than a week away, so I know the Singaporean team will be playing their heart out, and every single fan will be behind them every step of the way.
I hate to rain on your party, but Vietnam is looking like the best team in the region so far. 8-0 in their group stages, and we have to remember, this is the coming of Vietnam as a super region because they have the second largest server in the world just behind China.
They're looking very dominant. We'll have to see if Singapore can upset them later on in the second semi-final match. But let's take a look back at how the tournament has looked like so far, because this has been a very bloody tournament. It's been very quick, and there's been plenty of action.
Fast and Furious is the name of the game here. We are only playing at 24 minutes a game, which is actually 10 minutes shorter than your usual professional game. There's also double the amount of kills per minute happening. It's blood by the gallons and kills by the second.
What a great tournament for every single viewer, whether you're live, whether you're online to watch, because it's just going to be action non-stop. Like, don't even blink, guys, okay? Because there's just going to be kills all over the place.
We've also had plenty of different champions being picked up in this tournament. Over 80 unique picks in this tournament alone. We had the likes of Ezreal as well as Swain being very popular, but it's been focused on carries, especially with carries in the jungle.
We have to talk about it because there's quad carries in the meta so far. No one is playing tanks. We only have one tank player into the semi-final. And like that jungler point you're talking about, Graves, Xin Zhao, and Kindred are the name of the game.
I mean, Come On Pike was released a couple of months ago, so we could potentially see 5 carries going onto the Rift. And I know, Flavors, it's just been about bloodshed. There's not many tanks running around the map, not many tank players either. Everyone just wants to kill one another in this meta.
Yeah, you have to love this meta. It's so diverse that even if you only have a couple of comfort champions, it's really hard to ban out every single player, so somebody's going to get a champion that they like, and we're going to see a stellar performance from these guys.
And there'll be definitely plenty of action later on. But as Hanli and Pastry Time said before, there's more than just League of Legends today, because at 4 o'clock, Singapore's the Sam Willers will take to the stage after our final series, and after our final series of the evening, it's the one and only CL in MTV Spotlight.
I'm ashamed to admit, but if I only heard of the Sam Willers when I landed in Singapore, but they're already one of my favorite bands so far.
We also get to check out CL later on. It's going to be a fantastic show, and today's gameplay was made possible by Singtel. Level up your gaming experience with Singtel, the official telecom and broadband provider of Hyperplay. Also brought to you guys by Clearman. Clearman helps you get your head in the game. But it's almost time for our first semi-final, so let's meet one of the teams competing on the stage, Malaysia's Kuala Lumpur Hunters.
I'm Shiro and I play top lane for Team Malaysia. Hi, my name is Kashpir. I'm playing jungle for Team Malaysia.
My name is RH and I play mid lane for Team Malaysia.
Hi, I'm Ozra Veki and I play bot lane for Malaysia.
Hi, my name is Superior and I play support for Team Malaysia.
We expected to win all of our games in group stages, like even against Vietnam, but then their team was stronger than we expected them to be.
King of the Hill was quite kancheong, so because it's like a best of one, so whoever loses then is knockout.
During the game, I thought we would actually lose because like we were down like 10-0 or something like that.
In the early game, it was very tough because I made a mistake.
And now we're gonna see how it goes down, and the first blood going over to Belby.
Even though I won the game against Thailand, I don't really feel happy because it's not a perfect game and too much mistake during the game.
This is gonna be, look at that extra damage.
He's got no flash. I
There's nothing.
just have no idea what Caspiel is thinking right now.
Our biggest friend on our team is our jungler, but he's a dice player, so if you roll 6, we win. If you roll 1, we lost.
On days that he performs, he like can outperform almost everyone. He shot calls for the team as well, and he leads the team really well.
MVP, or maybe Becky. I think he carried us a lot that game against Thailand.
I think the game turned around right after I hit like 2 items with Last Road, and then I realized that one of my Ziggs bomb is enough to hit like 60% of the ADC HP, and it's like, okay guys, I think we won.
Ozora Veki has got the superior poke with Ars Hedge. The Shock Blast coming out does so much damage onto Martin going down. There goes the ultimate.
We have much more synergy out of the game than in games. I don't know why. We are very good friends, good family.
All of us quite close.
The team's pretty like troll. They like have fun and stuff like that.
They like to make all the nonsense jokes and stuff.
Becky, our ADC, he's like the really loud one.
Shiro is a doggo memes guy. He always share doggo memes. Our jungler, He's one of the oldest teammates I have. He's like one of the smartest players in our team. And now Min is the captain of the team. He's the more mature one, and then he knows how to bring us for food and stuff. I love food, you know. So having someone that knows where the foods are great. Superior actually just joined us recently, and he's 4.0 GPA people. So he's very smart. Be careful.
My team's playstyle, just make sure our jungler doesn't die by 5 minutes and we're fine.
If there's a team fight, we like to play team fight. If we can't team fight, it's because we are too behind. But even when we are too behind, sometimes we still team fight anyway. I have played a lot of international tournaments, but this is the very special one. I think it's the first time that it's such an event in Southeast Asia as well. I managed to make some new friends and take some pictures with the new teams and stuff, talk to them, and every teams have been pretty friendly, and it's quite happy and special experience for me. I'm personally quite excited to play in the indoor stadium because it's going to be such a big stage. So I'm really glad I make to the main event, I think. Yeah.
Well, they made it through the main event after an upset against Thailand. Somehow more synergy off the Rift than on the Rift. I think they need to, tighten that up a little bit going into these games to try and move into the finals itself.
A couple another big kabooms, that we hopefully see out of this team. I mean, it was tiebreakers, right, that managed to get them here. But yet, you see how much fun these guys have. So I expect a lot of fun stuff coming out of these guys.
Yes, we'll have to see what they can do in this match later on. But now that we've met the Malaysian representatives, let's turn to our first semi-final matchup, where Kuala Lumpur Hunters will face off against Acclaim Empire X from the Philippines. Philippines were able to qualify to this event through 159 different teams participating, and they came in with low expectation, guys, because these were not the #1 seed from the Philippines. Mineski won that qualification tournament, but unfortunately could not make it.
Yeah, and they're really coming out as the dark horses. 2-0 Singapore in their own group, bringing back a new threat and an old nightmare for Singapore.
Yeah, but don't count them out, because this team has done it before. The Philippines have done it before. When we saw Mineski go to the Season 3 Southeast Asian Regional Finals, Mineski were the 2nd seed over Exile. They were able to run the lower bracket gauntlet after losing to Singapore. They took down Malaysia, they took down Thailand, they took down Vietnam, then defeated Singapore in the grand finals in a decisive 2-0 at that, and qualified for the World Championships in Season 3. So now it's almost like Mineski are handing the torch over to Acclaim Empire X because they couldn't make the tournament this time.
They're carrying on the country's legacy of just being huge surprises. But yet at the same time, you look at their group stage run, they only dropped 1 game. And so that means that, maybe we should stop calling these guys, the dark horses or whatever, because look at them, they're playing well.
Yeah, definitely. And look at their game times. They're actually one of the slowest teams here, and most of that is waiting for their main carry, their jungler, Dodoy, to really step up and get his carry items on. They're running a very different team, a Messiah-like team on the Philippines.
Yeah, Dodoy has looked like the hard carry of the squad and has looked fantastic so far, but we'll talk a little bit more about Dodoy in a minute, because first we have to look at their opponents. Malaysia's representatives of the Kuala Lumpur Hunters. They qualified from a field of 46 teams in their home country, but there was no surprise. This is the only original GPL team left in competitive play, and by far the best in their region.
For those of us that have been here in Southeast Asia since the inception of the GPO, since esports really started to kick off, KLH is a household name. Everyone knows these guys, and they've got lots of veteran players on there. Azuroveki, you heard how vocal he is. Superior, Caspio, they're all really, really experienced in their own right.
And we saw them pick up 2nd place at the GPL Spring Split earlier on in this year, losing to Ascension in that grand finals. That was a decent performance for them, but they had a poor performance going into Rift Rivals. They're looking to try and find some redemption going into this match against the Philippines.
They might be the 2nd strongest team here, though. That experience and veteran leadership is really nowhere to be found in this tournament so far. I would say they are the cleanest team at Hyperplay so far, and they do play the slowest tempo overall.
And they always look towards Azuroveki because he is one of the veterans of the team. He actually had a short stint in the LMS where he played for Hong Kong Attitude as a support, and I know that you got to chat with him for some time while he was over there playing.
Yeah, he had such a great run at HKA, was a leader on the team, and played a lot of unorthodox picks just like the brand, and he had a really good chance to make Worlds that year, but I have a ton of respect for him. He said he's going to represent for his home country in Malaysia and flew back to join the Hunters.
Yeah, talking about brand, well, let's swap over to the other side because we've got a pocket pick player with the brand in Clyde. Right, we talk about the Doi in the jungle, but Clyde as well on his Jhin has been absolutely tearing up the competition, and he hasn't even busted out his scariest pick yet. So I think there's a lot to look out for.
Yeah, because it's always been banned out against Clyde. They don't want him to pick up Brand in the bottom lane and use that as one of his signature carries. But when we look towards the bottom lane for these two teams, we have to see how they get ahead in that bottom side of the map, because Caspiel, for the side of KLH, has been focusing his attention on the bottom side of the map, trying to get ganks off in the bottom lane, trying to go towards the mid lane wherever he can, and he could be the player that makes or breaks this team.
Caspiel is a legend in his hometown, Malaysia, because he's the first Korean challenger player to make it right there, and he has had great performances, especially on Xin Zhao. We all remember that game where he got that quadra kill.
He's going up against Dodoi though. We already spoke to this guy. He's the substitute jungler for the Philippines, but he is well known on the Southeast Asian servers as a jungle terror. He is fantastic and has been hard carrying in the jungle. He plays more towards the top side of the map.
I really want to see Caspiel bust out the big brain plays in this game, because he has the experience, he has the leadership to actually steer the team, control the tempo of the game. Dodoi, fantastic mechanics. I think how Caspiel can potentially outclass him, set up the vision plays, set up the rest of the team to really work as a unit, because Dodoi is just a monster in his own right, and Caspiel's got his work cut out for him to keep pace.
So Clement, what do you think? It's going to be carry junglers for sure, because that's what the meta has seemed like so far, and Caspiel as well as Dodoi have such a huge impact on these teams. Which jungler comes out on top, and how do they do it?
I honestly have to go with Caspiel and the Kuala Lumpur Hunters right here. I think they're more experienced. They have more avenues to win. They have a better late game. They're more structured. And I think that veteranship will carry the day.
What about you, Flavors? Do you agree that it's going to be KLH to take this from Caspiel in the jungle?
You know, I really don't think KLH is going to give Dodoi his Graves, but if they do, I'm 100% behind Dodoi's Graves, because that thing is a monster.
We'll have to see if he gets his signature pick once again as we go into Champion Select later on. But the stage is set and the teams are ready. As we hand it over to our shoutcasters, we'll hear from the players themselves about today's semi-final clash.
I feel like our team is really flexible. Like we can play any style.
Aggressive ang playstyle namin. Gusto namin kami laging nasa lead.
I've played against their jungler before. He's a one-trick Xin Zhao.
Gusto ko improve nga akong pinaka-the best nga jungle sa Malaysia. Kasi siyempre siya po yung lakas sa team namin. Siya yung laging bumubuhat.
His Xin Zhao is so strong. So we have to respect Ben that's tough.
Good luck to their jungle. Yung Malaysian team po ay malakas po yan pero alam ko pong kaya namin silang talunin.
I am really confident because I think my teammates are better than other teams. If we play our strategies correctly, I think we won't lose.
We can win. I'm quite confident in our team. Like, after making the mistakes from group stages and King of the Hill, I think we can bounce back.
I think we can fix our mistakes before we play against Philippines. Then I'm pretty confident that we can win the whole thing. We want to prove that we are the best in ASEAN.
Kaya naman namin lahat ng teams eh. I-expect namin na maging champion kami sa Hyperplay.
Hello again, everyone. Julian Pastry Time Car here with Sam, Kobe, Hartman, Kenzel, who joined me on the trip from the NELCS all the way here to Singapore at Hyperplay.
So excited to be here, and thank you, Singapore, for being such great hosts.
Certainly been wonderful so far, but we're about to get into maybe our favorite part, Kobe. It's time for some League of Legends, and these teams are so exciting.
Yeah, they really are, and as the analyst has talked about, there's hyper focus on some specific champions for both of these teams, right? You know, jungler Graves / Xin Zhao, both hard carry junglers for these guys, and I'm excited to see, you know, how well Kindred moves into that as well, because such a strong champion right now.
Yeah, certainly a lot to think about on 8-14. In general, though, I think the overall bloodiness of these teams is kind of interesting, because the command kills per minute has been very high for all of these teams across the tournament.
Over a kill and a half every single minute of the game. Also extremely short game time. So we're definitely going to be in for some action pastry time. Let's jump into this champion select and see if they do ban out Caspiel here.
Remember, only best of 3, so don't really get too many chances to right the ship if you make a mistake in these games. Malaysia on the left here, on the blue. We'll see what they do try and take away. Aatrox's actually the first ban. Kind of expected here.
Definitely a super strong champion as well. Has been used in the mid lane, so I like the research done here. And we'll see if Philippines respond with some jungle focus.
Have to find out. Philippines on the red, they'll ban away Olaf. So, yep, going to start off with at least one jungler.
It's interesting, too, because even on 8-15, the patch that just came out, Olaf did get some buffs. Currently, though, we're still on 8-14, everyone, so keep that in mind as we go through.
See what the second ban is here. Kind of interesting to see such a strong champion ban on the blue side, but of course, hard to say exactly what these teams are all playing.
It really is difficult too when you're thinking about banning against these guys, because Veki, they talked about him being one of the most experienced players on this team and one of the hard carries. He has also played 2 other roles professionally. He was a mid laner and he was a support player. So now as the bottom role, he kind of fits perfectly into the new meta of, you know, Swain, Orianna, Ziggs. He's tried his hand at all of these mage champions down there. So you really have a lot of things to worry about.
A lot of junglers though still continuing to be taken away. Kindred on the blue side for Malaysia and Skarner by the Philippines away from Caspiel.
All right. It looks like they may be thinking about first picking a Graves away from him or giving Dodoy his Graves. This is red side for the Philippines, so they'll have to wait on the first pick from Malaysia, but he has been absolutely insane on this champion. He's actually been going Dark Harvest Graves, so he can pick up extra damage from enemies or teammates that have been dying. And hard carrying them in 5 out of the 6 games.
I think given the speed of a lot of the games, it kind of makes sense. So they will actually ban Rakan. Sinjal was the other respect pick banned away from Dodoy. So we'll see if your theory is correct, Kobe, and if Graves is taken away here to try and block that off Dodoy, or if they're just going to see what happens here in game 1.
Yep, they banned Kindred themselves, which is something that Caspiel has used effectively, but also in the game against Thailand, it was one of the random bad games. They talked about their teammate, the jungler, right? Sometimes he rolls a 6 on the dice, sometimes he rolls a 1, and they feel like they have fixed up some of those issues, and it is going to be the priority on the more standard Nocturne here. Being able to use that ultimate in these super quick-paced games should be very valuable.
Yep, trying to trade kind of one strong jungler for another, so happy with the power pick of Nocturne. We'll see where Graves does fall in this draft, if he does, but bot lane locked in by the looks of things for the Philippines with Morgana and Jhin.
And Clyde gets his Jhin. This has been one of the prize picks for Clyde in the bottom lane. He's also going to have the Black Shield to back him up. So it's definitely going to be some bottom focus, maybe a little bit more than usual, because there's a lot of kill potential. Binding, snare from Jhin, they can definitely have some CC to the table.
Kind of like this though from Malaysia, maybe respecting the flexibility of Morgana, or just saying, don't want to get hit by bindings, I'll take Tahm Kench here for their bottom lane presumably, but one more pick here in this phase of the draft.
Yeah, as soon as we start talking about setting up ganks with Morgana Jhin, they immediately get Tahm Kench to deny those picks, and it is going to be a Swain pick as well. Could be Veki or as well our H. Definitely a flexible champion, but I would kind of expect it to be going into the hands of Veki here.
Yeah, I think so as well. Very strong made bot lane. Doesn't combo super well with Tahm Kench, but you can get a lot done, especially if the jungler joins. By the way, Graves got left off and they did pick it before the bans came out, so now an on ban in phase 2 here from the Philippines.
All right, so Veki gonna have to worry about some Graves pressure. This guy, he has out CS'd tremendously every single opponent, as well as had a higher KD than every single other jungler that he has gone up against. So we'll see how this early game does get started. And those are the types of lanes that you want when you have a Graves, right? Lanes that can set you up for your ganks. There's a lot of crowd control in bottom lane. Typically, the Philippines have also drafted some stuns for themselves in the mid lane so that Kanji can also set up some kills for Dodoy and really get him fed. Keep in mind, though, as we also said, this is 8-14, so the Monster Hunter has been implemented into the game, and that is the thing that was put in place to deter teams from doing a funnel strategy, which can have side effects of hurting carry junglers, right? If he has the most gold on the team and he hasn't upgraded his smite item fully, then he'll get reduced gold from those minions.
Thankfully, the upgraded one does more damage, so if he gets rolling, like we're going to pick up the warrior early on. Camille, Jace, and Orianna, though, the last 3 bans here in this phase. So taking away some more solo laners there. And kind of interesting stuff to choose from. Really jungler-heavy bans in the first phase, but somehow still we ended up with Nocturne and Graves.
Yeah, and with the top lane focus here now a little bit as well, I've been thinking for Malaysia, the Kennen was very successful as well for Shiro, especially if Caspiel doesn't even, want to go up there. Kennen can play safe as well. Kennen and Gnar, kind of the two we're looking at from him. We'll see if they want to lock this in early, but there's the stun for mid lane that we talked about for the Philippines, picking up Twisted Fate.
I mean, if you're going to set up in a lane and other lanes, Twisted Fate is an awesome champion for how Philippines want to play, so it can certainly turn on this Graves.
Yeah, ideally here, Dodoy on the Graves, throw some early pressure mid lane to help Kanji out with the Twisted Fate to free him up to then be the stun bot for a different lane and come help gank with him.
How did you get through? Zoe slyly sliding in to the last round of picks here for Malaysia. So flexing that Swain, helping them out here in the draft. Certainly a very powerful champion, but what's the last one going to be?
Yeah, a lot of diversity as far as damage profile here as well. Whenever you early draft the Nocturne, it's very easy to go into double mages. There's that cannon.
Ooh,
They
baby.
also got the cannon we were looking for. So this is a pretty strong draft, honestly, here from Malaysia. But again, the key champions here, Dodoy has dominated on the Graves, so he's going to have his work cut out for him.
I think Clyde as well, getting that Jin, especially with a strong laner like Morgana, should be looking to make a lot of noise here as the Philippines might self-counterpick themselves here. We'll see what they line up here for their 1v1 matchup. Cannon can be tricky. Thought about Nav. Different Yoda, though, going to take Kled.
Nice. All right, Kled lane going to revolve around possibly threatening those all-ins with your W active. If you have your Vicious Strikes ready, you can go in for big trades. Otherwise, it's going to be up to Ken and Shiro there trying to poke from range and be very aware of the jungle presence.
I think the nice thing, though, is strong draws from both sides, and most importantly, a lot of aggressive picks. How many buttons that say go in and do something do we have on either side? I mean, I feel like maybe Malaysia ahead of the curve with a champion like Tom Kenshin maybe stop some of that, but you never know.
Yeah, we'll definitely see as they break out of the laning phase, and we start to see a lot of roams, because not only the Tom Kench with the Abyssal Voyage, but the Nocturne as well in the jungle for Caspiel. You know, if he rolls a 6 and starts getting kills on Nocturne, you can easily rack up a lot of kills and use your ultimate to deny the Twisted Fate ultimate. Interesting interaction here with the darkness from Nocturne, being able to deny a lot of the plays from Twisted Fate.
I think in general, though, both junglers certainly a focus for this matchup, and we'll have many tools in these lanes to kind of set each other up, but which team gets ahead first in the early game could spell the rest of it here as the coaches will shake hands and walk off stage. I don't think there's a better way we could have started this tournament given these teams and these champions.
I do like it when the teams focus on their own strengths and just try and get what, you know, their teams have been most successful with, and we get to see those two strengths clash.
Well, we'll see what's lined up here. Certainly a lot of early actions, what we're expecting. But we'll have to find out. These teams have played for a very, very long time just to get the chance here to sit on the stage and play this best of 3. Of course, we'll have a finals tomorrow and another semifinal today, so plenty of League of Legends all weekend long. And don't forget MTV Spotlight also hanging out to fulfill your music needs.
Yeah, definitely excited for the concert later today. But right now, you heard it from them, looking to prove they're the best in Southeast Asia. Let's get on to the Rift.
We'll be there in just a second as the teams have faced off against each other. Very familiar for a lot of these players, have played kind of within Southeast Asia for quite a long time. But it's time to have some fun, and Malaysia going to move out against the Philippines for our first game of Hyperplay.
All right, no sweepers. Everyone with regular yellow trinkets here in defensive lineups. Gonna have a quick pause, make sure everything is in order before we actually jump into this game. Figure out what's going on quickly.
Give you an update as soon as we get one. Looks like Caspiel's talking to one of the referees, so perhaps something going on there. But as soon as we know, we'll let you know. Gives us a little bit more time to digest the draft. We kind of glazed over it, so I think maybe it's actually time to hit mid lane here. I do love what Kanji's Twisted Fate can get done here. But Zoe is a pick that we didn't really have on our radar from the way these players play. But of course, on this patch, in general, in the League of Legends here, is still such a powerful mid laner.
I feel like Zoe is on every League of Legends player's radar.
And that's the thing, right? It's like, oh, maybe it's not really what they want to play, but she's so strong that I think everyone has to play her.
Definitely true. And what's really interesting are a lot of these summoner spell selections. Both mid laners, because of those crowd control abilities in the mid lane, have selected Cleanse in addition to their flashes, so they're very well aware of the tendencies of the opponent junglers there, trying to get their lead. But look at this, Tom Kench also has gone with the Glacial Augment, looking for, you know, kills for himself, and being able to stack up the passive there, looking for the all-ins. Using Devour offensively is actually one of the things I feel is most understated for Tom Kench. Everyone looks at Devour and thinks, oh, he can only, you know, save your teammates and deny damage there. But he can also go for the all-ins as soon as he gets on you in that lane. It's definitely going to be difficult for him, though, with the Black Shield for Morgana and Jin trying to keep his range. So we'll see how this Glacial Augment actually works out for him. He'll be a bit less tanky.
Yeah, certainly a lot of actually fun runes to talk about here. Moving to the top lane there for Malaysia, Shiro actually has Unsealed Spellbook, which has seen some changes since a long way ago when it was kind of ubiquitous. But with a champion like Cannon who does want to fulfill a lot of different roles, could be very good.
Yeah, and it's exciting as well in the 1v1s. You know, if Kennen comes back to lane and he's got an exhaust for the Kled all-in and you're not expecting it, then that would be very rough as far as counter gank opportunities come up as well. Plus, I mean, we just got to keep rolling, Pacey, because there is a Grass of the Undying.
Yeah, that's what I was looking at before.
In the mid lane as well. I mean, this guy, his stats, if you go over it for Kanji, have been pretty low as far as damage, but he always brings a crowd control champion to the mid lane. So he's looking for the stuns, and he's looking to not die.
Yep.
With the Grass giving you extra health, as well as the cleanse taken in lane, it's just going to probably look to farm it out there, especially with, you know, Nocturne Zoe having huge kill pressure. It's really going to be about who acts first for these teams.
Yeah, it's kind of a cool stylistic choice. I almost wonder if it's a matchup specific thing or if it's lining up for his top side of the map. Because I think if you're saying, okay, you have this mage, you do need some damage early, well, early damage is covered by Graves and Kled. So if Kanji can get out of this lane, kind of get out of the consistent pushing and poke that Zoe does offer, and then go elsewhere to set up, especially for their jungler, then it seems like a pretty easy success story there for the Philippines. So whenever the game gets going, there's going to be a lot of crowd control flying thick and fast this game, Kobe. So watch yourself.
Yeah,
you're going to have to make those analysis points real tiny sometimes.
That's okay. We can get them all in right now. Another thing we mentioned in the Champion Select with Dodoy on his Graves that he has been so successful with during this tournament is that he has gone Dark Harvest. And Dark Harvest is not what people are used to seeing. Especially in a lot of the other leagues, people are trending a lot more towards press the attack, but Dark Harvest is a super hard carry 1v9 rune if you have to be this giant damage source for your team. And by the way, for this whole tournament, he has added 28% of the team's overall damage, by far the highest number here for any jungler across all regions, and a large part is due to getting into so many fights. Over the course of the game, you can pick up Dark Harvest stacks from your opponents or your teammates and use those for more damage throughout the fight. So as long as he stays upright and does not die, we'll see if he can inch out every little extra bit.
It's kind of funny to think about, but I mean, you know, when the runes were reforged all this time ago, there was supposed to be a tendency to how do you want to play, what's the style. It's almost a metagame choice, given how fast the region does like to play. So certainly fun stuff here, but we'll have to wait to see where the players do go. I think we are going to be back in shortly with any luck. So I'm crossing both my fingers, Kobe, and I'm ready to get back into the action.
You ready to hyperplay, pastry time?
I've been ready to hyperplay all week, Kobe. We'll see if the players are ready to hyperplay. I think that's a pretty fitting name for the overall style the teams have demonstrated this tournament, because they do like to get awfully hype.
Yeah, so I would definitely expect some red buff starts as well from the junglers, and it looks like we are back into it, so let's get this game on the line.
Oh, Superior already taunting his opponents. Eats an airy proc by Kurosu for his trouble.
Oh, get some money off that as well from your Spell Thieves, stolen gold.
RH here, though, just kind of hanging out in the brush. Maybe a late poke in here from the Philippines, but so Ozoroveki did try and get the claw down, doesn't land it, ward goes in, but it's pretty shallow, so no real deep vision here.
Veki as well, he is starting with the ring, looking to stack up kills early for himself. He's got the refillable potion that you can make use of with their teleport in the bottom lane, even with teleport moving to 6 minutes, still being taken here, especially for a lot of the mage matchups in the bottom lane, so you can get your first purchase off and refill that potion pretty easily.
We did see some difference in leashes. Walk actually leashed for Dodoy, so he is on the red buff as you expected. Caspiel, though, bot side leashed for the same buff, so that did mean the Philippines got there a little early, but RH nice and early, getting good poke on here, but there's that grass proc there from Kanji trying to stay up in this lane.
Yep, trying to pull the cards, go for the grass plus card auto. Currently, they're both chugging on their potions, but it looks like Dodoy is gonna be first onto the Scuttle Crab, and Caspiel has the opportunity to jump on him.
Time to battle. There's the Fear Teller starting out. Dodoy forced to flush away. Caspiel wants to maybe collapse here. Does get the Q down, but here comes Kennen. Malaysia collapsing so quickly. Dodoy, no flash. Does he have the quick draw? Does get out over the wall, but he will have to cede control of the Crab.
Both solo laners collapsing here for Malaysia to protect their jungler and protect the Scuttle Crab. That is one of the best feelings as a jungler when you're able to have the support of both sides of the matchup here and retain control of that Scuttle Crab for Nocturne. Now he can just reverse clear, but look at Dodoy on the Graves. Aggressive-minded as ever. Gets in there for some counter jungle.
That pulling was so fast there by Veki. Does actually chunk Kurosu down pretty heavily, but Jin Morgana kind of abusing their better range in this matchup, trying to push it in.
Yep, Clyde here with the Hail of Blades on Jin. So you proc it with the first auto, then you get to retain the extra attack damage there for the rest of your trade. Dodoy does take away the majority of the Raptors, and now it's Caspiel on the gank path.
All right, looking for a bubble, already going to miss. Kanji now trying to line it up, gets the gold card down, so that should call off the pressure here from Nocturne.
And look at him, he's definitely in need of the grasp heals as constant harassment from Zoe has taken him very low. Dodoy, though, with that vision of Nocturne towards the mid, looks to the bottom side of the map to do more counter juggling.
No, it actually could be a 2v2 kill. Superior jumping in, flashes looking at the devour, but he ate a minion, and first blood goes over to Kurosu.
Oh, that is something we've seen so often with Tahm Kench, difficult targeting there. Now, Veki has to flash away.
Yeah, smokescreen attempt, but Dodoy does not chase under the turret with no flash.
Oh, so close there. Again!
Wok looking top side, Caspiel propping the lethal tempo should be enough. Is able to pick up the kill, and already 2 kills in 4 minutes.
Oh, 1 for 1 here for Malaysia and the Philippines. They quickly strike back and get the kill onto Caspiel.
Well, Dodoy does at least finish his mission here in the bot side, although maybe stopped by Veki.
No mana.
Oh, great lead there on the Q. Now going to pop the W for the slow. Just needs a little bit more. This should be a 1v1 kill. Able to grab it. No, the binding there. Superior trying to launch him forward, but he doesn't quite have the distance.
Oh, so close there. Very critical. Morgana coming over in the bottom lane support for Philippines, allowing Dodoy to leave. Nice edge here as in the mid lane, we're also getting a lot of harassment. Magic Shield does go up there. From Kanji with the rune as well, has been procced.
RH looking for the bubble, doesn't find it. Stole a ghost off the ground as Kanji threatens forward. Now he's RH again trying to chase the paddle star in, but can't quite find the angle.
Look at this purchase as well. A Poacher's Dirk picked up for Dodoy. He plans on continuing to go for jungle invades and continuing to try and counter jungle Caspiel here. It's a really good strat for keeping Nocturne's levels down, not allowing him to get to the level 6. Here's a look at the all-in, though, as Veki had a very smooth pullback there. And again, this was the Glacial Augment Tahm Kench, so he flashes in, he's looking for the aggressive play, try and get the first blood bonus. Doesn't get the correct Devour there, though, and he gets punished afterwards. So big pickup for the Philippines.
Nice Flex Shield as well, so may actually have been okay, but we may never know as by getting aggressive with the Hail of Blades proccing. Also very early Ninja Tabai, interestingly here. So not so worried about the lane right now. More worried about the Nocturne.
Yeah, a lot of the defensive mindedness here for the laners on the side of the Philippines. Looking to Dodoy to do most of the damage. He's into the river once again. Should be able to chase out Caspiel. Top side, though, going pretty well for Shiro. He has been able to get first item completion. Oh, here we go.
Getting aggressive. Only level 4 in the Nocturne. Lethal Tempo procs. Gold card not going to follow. But unfortunately, the fear not quite enough of an angle for Zoe to land that bubble. Dodoy continues to take away jungle. Gets the Scuttle Crab once again.
Yeah, they're going to have to run out of the river, though.
Going for it again. Kanji still getting harassed. Needs to land the bubble. Maybe he doesn't need it, actually, as RH. Trying to chase through for a bit more damage. Finally lands the bubble. Cleanses off. Flashes over the wall, and they can't quite find him.
Very nice use of both summoner there. Have to use them both. Scuttle Crab was picked up for the Philippines, so they'll have to get that one. But Malaysia very aggressive right now, and they are looking to blow as many summoners as they can as the Nocturne approaches level 6. If Caspiel here, who was the recipient of the extra money from the kill on top side, is able to get to that level 6 and then try and punish the Twisted Fate there before summoners come back up, it could be the source of some more power.
Yeah, we'll see now. Caspiel still working towards that crucial level 6. He's going to take that red buff down for the second time around. RH should stick around the lane, maybe a little too long as Kanji returns with not too much after shopping. But feeling pretty confident here, just wants to play up and apply lane pressure and not let TF get out of this lane now that Kanji himself has hit level 6.
Okay, bottom side going pretty well there for Clyde as he's able to push in again on Jin. Even with the early Ninja Tabbies, has been able to CS quite well and hold his own. He's definitely worried about the Nocturne, by the way, for those, since, of course, it is mostly magic damage he'll be taking in lane versus the Swain. Here's some of the poke, though, that you get to see with the Morgana and Jin. Twisted Fate ultimate use.
Gonna get in, looking for Shiro, does land the stun Flare ult, not gonna quite connect, actually it does! Finds a chase down, but a great ult from Shiro as the Maelstrom will protect him. Now Kanji tanks the turret in, but here comes Dodoy.
Oh, are they going to continue with this? Shiro does put down the ward, and he's going to get out of there. Looks like we have Caspiel fairly close, but they're a little bit outnumbered. Now we got the roam up through the river from Zoe.
Again, they will spot him, but no 6 yet on the Nocturne.
Good defensive play there from Shiro to get himself out. And they avoid the first Twisted Fate ultimate attempt at a gank, but bottom lane gets their kill.
All right, so can maybe see why the bot lane has been not too much of a worry for Clyde. A kill in the 2v2. Veki looking good on the flame, but just can't fight the pressure. And Clyde's Jhin, as we kind of thought it might be, is starting to mount up to be a real problem for Malaysia.
Yeah, even with no damage items here, the crowd control combination from Morgana and Jhin was able to net them the kill, stacking it up themselves. And this is going to be a lot of damage on the turret as well. Top side, though.
Dodoy hanging out in the bush. Hoping Shiro oversteps his bounce. Shiro no ult, but he does have flash and stopwatch. It's going to be kind of a tricky one to get. Nocturne on the mid side. Now finally diving this poor Twisted Fate. But a good stun lands after the spell shield. And they actually don't have enough to take it. Battlestar down. No, he stepped forward. And RH does complete the kill.
Ooh, and Malaysia gets some money back for themselves. Now it's only 300 gold that separate the teams. Scuttle Crab on the bottom side also taken up after that kill onto Twisted Fate. And Malaysia going to try and take this time to get some vision for themselves after the kill.
And this is what I was hoping to see, Kobe. Both these junglers going tooth and nail to fight each other. Yes, Clyde has a lead for the Philippines in bot, but it's basically the same for RH here in mid lane. So as expected, this top side of the map is really going to influence our mid game.
As we said, we're kind of cautioning against this Twisted Fate with no summoners left. As soon as Nocturne gets level 6, nice usage there. They all in with the Zoe, and they're able to find that kill.
All right, Shiro will step back forward. Walk again. Shown to play aggressive here, but we know Dodoy is not on this side, but let's watch a replay here in the 2v2 kill.
Yeah, this is the bottom one that we did not get to see start up. It was a Morgana binding to start everything out, and then Jhin fourth shot, able to get him pretty low, still stays under turret, mining hit by the minion. And how does he actually finish this one off? 4-shot flashes into him with the grenade.
Yep, really nice stuff there. Clyde just knows how to play aggressive, and Veki not respecting the end of the damage there on the 4-shot as another dive is going to brew. TP in from Philippines. Here's the counter TP from Malaysia, but the dive has already started. The turret so low. Kanji now into it, but Shiro looking to turn it all around. A huge slicing maelstrom is going to find that, and Veki procs the Nova for the double kill, but still fight not over as Clyde looking to line up with the shots there from Jhin. Great stopwatch there from Veki, who will keep him alive for a little while longer. Caspiel, no ult, but Walkwalk still fighting up against Veki, about to remount, does grab it. Rage still fighting his way out as Caspiel does go down. Karosu still alive so long. What an insane stopwatch there from Morgana to not die to the Swain E on the way back around, but still RH looks fishing. Can't quite find the battle star, but RH flashing forward, has another flash and another cleanse for a bit of extra move speed. Pops it, still looking, wants to try and take somebody down. Could have flashed for that kill, but isn't going to get it. Walkwalk also recalls safely in the brush. My goodness.
Oh, what a team fight there. The Kennen ultimate makes you think that it's going to go full in the favor of Malaysia, but a huge re-engage from the Philippines turns it back around and they get an extra kill for themselves.
Okay, well, we already saw a lot of the skirmishes kind of making things exciting, but our first real full-on engage was extremely intense.
Oh,
what
bubble
a
hit.
bubble there from RH. Got a threat through the mini wave, does find it, flashes on his face. Goodbye, Clyde! A shutdown from RH.
At 600 gold over to Zoe as well, and RH is going to look to try and carry for the squad. During the same time as well as the solo kill, they're able to take down this Rift Herald, and remember, that solo kill down bottom was even more important because of the low health on the turret. First turret gold bonus has not been given over yet, so that objective is still available, and they could try and take it for themselves quickly.
Yeah, kind of a race for it here with the two winning lanes on either side, bot for Philippines and the mid lane for Malaysia. Looks like Veki's actually going to roam mid. Doesn't look too weird to sway in mid lane. That kind of makes sense.
Oh.
This Kanji may be looking for another roam. Does have his ultimate ready.
There's another control ward in the small pixel brush. He did see that one as well, so trying to get some gank pathways opened up for him. And already we do have a lane swap here as Veki has gone mid lane to try and hold this one. Again, though, bottom lane about to topple over. And it is going to be a fight between a Rift Herald or bottom lane pressure to see who's going to get the bonus.
Yeah, I'm curious to see exactly what decisions these team makes when navigating these first early objectives, because the Gold League with all the fighting has stayed very even. But let's watch this one again. This was a fun one.
Yeah, this is the big old Kennen ultimate. Gets two of them in. Nice pullback from Veki, and you think that they've got them cornered up here, and they get the double kill with the explosion. But as soon as Clegg comes down, re-engage is used for the Philippines. They're able to get the ultimate off, and Caspiel on the Nocturne flashes over, needs another couple autos to finish off Morgana, but then since he already used his spell shield, the binding is a huge punish there. Still had stopwatch, by the way, to be able to immune the pullback there and avoid the counter kill.
Okay, well, it looks like Rift Herald summoned mid, but Philippines did already get the turret in bot side. We saw in the picture from that replay, so Kanji will not be able to fight this off. Turret will fall in mid, but a fight might be brewing.
And this has actually been the story of the game. Mid lane advantage for Malaysia, bottom lane for the Philippines, and seems to continue.
Yep, Shelly runs past the action. Rift Herald going to charge into the tier 2 and deal a pretty significant extra chunk of damage. Kind of interesting to see that that's the turret they chose for. It was already low, so maybe could have set up a different siege. But you know what? A turret's a turret, and it's a good one to get in mid, so might as well take it.
Yeah, they got a second charge off on the secondary turret as well. And this is a Cloud Drake on the map, but they've decided a big rotation up to the top side here for Malaysia, and they might want to try and get a second outer turret as well, because we see Zoe going through the jungle.
These don't fancy me as teams that really love themselves, the Cloud Drake Kobe, although Godoy is going to think differently. We'll start off to Drake that. We'll likely see the top turret, though, with 3+1 incoming there to the top side of the map. Even Caspiel ready with the ultimate, so Walk knows he just has to see the pressure.
Yeah, they actually have 2 people on the bottom side of the map here for Philippines, so they're going to trade for the Cloud Drake, as Godoy does pick that one up, and the tower goes down. Walk has to be a little bit careful for the all engage.
Clyde also here, maybe a juicier target, but he does have his flash. Instead, a Root's going to land. Bear Trap on a rope, looking to snag him back, but doesn't quite latch after that. So a good turret take there. Malaysia using that Rift Herald tempo nicely to get 2 turrets for themselves, despite not getting the first turret of the game.
Now, as the map starts to open up and these turrets do fall, we're going to be looking at those big picks here. It's going to be either Zoe Bubbles on the side of Malaysia with the Nocturne ultimate, or the Twisted Fate trying to be proactive here for the Philippines and set up Godoy. He hasn't been able to convert his Poacher's Dirk, by the way. Hasn't been able to continue counter jungling since the early stages, and he really needs that one to transform into this rated Dirk, because he's trying to go lethality. Maybe he's going Dustblade for some extra big burst damage and try and get those kills.
Makes sense with Dark Harvest, 40 stacks already. They're not doing too badly there. Kanji could be the target of the next kill. Slow from Tom Kench will land, but no follow-up here. And we heard Malaysia talking about, you know, liking to teamfight when they have an early lead. This game's a lot closer, but they have an objective lead. And I think this is the kind of team that's going to band together and just try and really force fights in the mid-game.
Yeah, very, very close as far as the gold here for both teams. And for Malaysia, they actually have the options of going 1-3-1, you know, using Tom Kench in the mid lane to push up and then try and use the ultimate and the Abyssal Voyage to take advantage of someone who is far away from the rest of the team. But they've sent Becky and Superior back down to the bottom lane to try and affect it here. Looks like they might go for an offensive play. Nocturne's in the area for a counter gank, though.
Yeah, maybe, especially on a ward. I think Kurosu just stepped over one. Could be tough here to look for this lane pressure. Now the sweeper is going to get popped, so they will spot it out. Clyde also not in the area, and he's kind of the big damage source right now, although Walk did finish his Black Cleaver, and as his Tiamat, Clyde with his lead already has a Storm Razor finish and is moving pretty quickly towards item number 2.
Yeah, that is a huge early power spike here for Clyde. But on the opposite side, will the Zoe, with the 2 kills here, most prominent. Oh, they're going in!
Yep, looking straight for the jungler again, forcing the flash out there.
That's important. Godoy is going to be one of the big sources of damage, so they've already blown the summoner spell and half of the health bar. This might be... Oh! Flash binding!
Nice devour, though. Actually, cleanse popped as well, so maybe could have saved that one, but now it actually could be Caspiel that's in trouble. Spell Shield's over, is going to block a bit of the extra damage, but Superior is going to get latched in by Soul Shackles. Here's Twisted Fate, big flank here looking, but Becky already popped the Nova. Kanji trying to take down RH, and he will get it down. Morgana able to take down the kill on the Zoe. She rode late as everyone flashes out of the Maelstrom. Cannon not quite able to connect with the ulti, but Becky able to get a kill onto Clyde. That's key. They actually may have taken it off. I think Malaysia can fight their way out, but it's such a bloodbath here in the game. Kanji still chasing down Caspiel. No health left to speak of.
And it's the grasp of the undying Twisted Fate looking for those.
He's getting duped. Oh, the card ran out. Now Caspiel going to try and turn it back around. I don't know if he's got anything left. Oh, he spell shield the Q, but the card will follow, and Kanji finally claims the kill.
Oh, what a crazy team fight. In the end, it's 3-4-3, and we're still at a tied game. Walk trying to even pick up the Krugs afterwards on the Kled. No objectives given over, but that was such a close team fight, Patriot time.
Gonna need to pace myself. Even though it's only a best of 3, these team fights are already very exciting, Kobe, as Kanji is going to push that lane there into the bot side. And RH, I don't know if he had the purchase, but now the Luden's finish as we'll watch this fight again.
Yeah, we're seeing the effects of the big AoE abilities. All right, so that was the Flash Morgana binding into the Tahm Kench Devour early. Caspiel does get to use the Blast Cone to join the rest of his team, but then Twisted Fate Ultimate allows Kanji to get into the back line, stun up the Zoe, and they take out one of the most fed members of Malaysia at the beginning of the fight. That being said, Becky as well as Shiro with the big AoE ultimates there on Swain and Kennen are able to get a lot of damage back, and they do get 2 counter kills. In the end though, the Grasp of the Undying Twisted Fate staying very healthy throughout the fight is the one who's going to get the last kill. Has to use his flash in the end to try and catch up to Caspiel here, as well as the cleanse during the fear that does go off. But he's able to get in range for the last auto and trade 3-4-3.
Yep, gets himself the gold, so not bad at all. Superior now fighting Corrosive. The Soul Shackles have started. Here comes Qued. Devour is going to land on Tomogana, but goodbye as Dodoy able to grab the kill.
Everyone from the Philippines joining on the fight in the jungle there, and they're able to pick off Tahm Kench first. Let's see what Malaysia can do in response. They've got Becky bottom lane split pushing, so Swain might just try and trade that bottom turret for the top side turret there for the Philippines. As it will be 1-for-1 in the end as well.
Yep, despite the evenness in a lot of these fights, the Philippines do need to open up the map a little bit more. So Veki is going to do a nice job of trying to fell the outer ring before the Philippines can do that. But as you said, Kobe, should be a trade here. 3v0 in the top side. We'll take down that turret, easy peasy. And Veki, though, is able to find the trade. So mid-outer tower really going to be the one that sticks out. All of a sudden, that Rift-Tailed use on the low mid turret actually looking pretty good here.
And Dodoy still needs to get 3 more enemy camps to be able to transform his Poacher's Dirk. He was able to get the Gromp for one of them, but he's sticking around. Maybe the blue buff will be number 2. So, might actually hand it off. Yep, Clyde is going to be able to pick that one up. So still waiting.
We'll have to keep the counter ticking down, but he's got his boys here.
They found a new target.
What is Shiro doing up here? Over a ward now, but I think it might be too late. No ult here for Wok Wok, but Shiro going to try and get out of the way. No flash gets rooted up there by the Jin as Wok Wok does get the latch down, pulls him back from the backdrop in a row. Flash forward. Here comes the Jin ulti, beautifully played by the Philippines.
For the Malaysian side, though, as soon as they see 3 members topside, they try and rush the bottom turret, but it's a Baron start now for the Philippines.
All right, they're going straight for it. They saw Caspiel topside. He cannot make it easily.
Teleport used.
Here comes Becky. Now the fight maybe going to start again. 5 strong in the Pixel Brush.
They don't have any vision inside Baron. There it is, Swain being able to use the vision of Empire.
They do see that they didn't start it, I believe, so not going to face Jack, but here we go. Everyone's rolling out, squad straight to mid lane. Kanji looking for the flank at Superior. Maybe going to face check the wrong end of that one. Now 5v4.
Big Kled and Twisted Fate Ultimate. Now the rest of them are on the run through the river.
Shiro not even here and doesn't have TP. Actually Spellbook swapped over to Ghost. So maybe can make it for this fight, but he's going to have to be quick. RH with a big chunk almost takes out Dodoy. This is actually confident enough for Malaysia to fight, even overproc by Swain. He's going to try and swoop them all in. Caspiel looking to pick up Corrosive on the other side and does jump in and take him down. Shiro already ghosting away, but needs to find a few more kills perhaps. Still no ult proc here as RH looks for the big bubble. Drowsy in onto the Twisted Fate, but he cleanses out of there.
Oh, they are barely going to get away under the turret. Does get dismounted.
Dismount, they're going to keep going for it. They take down the turret. Malaysia having to duck through everything. Shiro, Portable, pops the Maelstrom, takes down Wok Wok at the end of it. And they're still going. They're going to take the inhibitor turret.
Yep, the inhibitor turret and 2 kills are the payment for that Cloud Drake that was picked up. Sticking around for the inhibitor as well. More pings already over on the side of Baron, and Tahm Kench is back on the map.
Crazy, crazy turn of events. But mid inhibitor will fall there. Malaysia, we'll see how aggressive they're feeling. Where do they go next?
Can they get a reset here? Because there have been so little downtime in this game. Getting back to base to be able to purchase your items after these kills is one of the most difficult things here with the pace of this game. All right, we actually do have finally the Duskblade completed there for Dodoy on the Graves. And we'll see if he can stay upright in these team fights to be able to utilize that Dark Harvest and get out the DPS that they're looking for. Again, the Kled Ultimate plus Twisted Fate Ultimate used by the Philippines to get a lot of these picks at the beginning of the team fights, but Malaysia have come back with these big AoE ultimates of their Kennen and Swain to get a lot of these team fight victories.
Also a successful reset here. Do manage to make it out on the map in time to defend both Baron and their mid-outer turret. Side lane's not really going. I think Shiro just got things done for the bot side.
Pretty close here in the jungle.
Caspiel just ult straight on Morgana, does put the Black Shield up, so not going to get fear, but Caspiel actually a little too far forward. Flash Devour is nice. Rage is dipping bubbles and stars through the walls here, but now here comes the 4-shot Superior. The true support is going to block what he can, but Kanji with the wild card gets the pick up now to Doi. Over the top, a snipe from Clyde as the Flourish finds him. An ult from Kled, beautiful from Wok Wok to follow through the portal jump, but Drowsy for Morgana. Rage barely able to stay still in time, but I think he's still going to go down. Becky is going to get grabbed by the bear trap, but he pops his own watch there to not go down, but still the Philippines looking to die between two turrets perhaps.
They have to be very careful. Kennen does have his ultimate. Shiro is maybe thinking about trying to clean that up. During this time, though, super minions are threatening the Nexus towers, and there are some forced recalls here from the Philippines.
All right, so Malaysia know despite the team fight loss, no Baron will be given away. What a team fight, though, from the Philippines. Back and forth between these two squads.
Yeah, pretty big item completions coming in as well for them. You see the Zhonya's Hourglass used for Morgana already, and Lichbane completed 4 Twisted Fate. Here's another look at the attempt. Pick here in their own jungle. Malaysia go all in. Flash Devour from Tom Ken to get Nocturne out of there, but the Ignite still burning on him. Does use the stopwatch for himself as Superior tried to tank, and it was the wild card that got through to finish him off right after he was out of the stasis. Pretty big flash there from Doi to finish the last kill, and that's why it was such a big move here for the Philippines, picking up a ton of kills for themselves. Afterwards, a lot of damage sustained under the turret, though, and with the threat of that Kennen ultimate, you don't want to go for any more.
And it's just wonderful to see how willing these players are to pull the trigger and start a fight. And now that Baron is back up and both teams are on the map, don't blink, because another fight's going to start soon.
They've been fighting for 2 months to get to this stage, Pastry Time, and it's now or never. Sleepy Trouble Bubble does land.
Yep, Bubble finds TF. Kanji chunked down big by RH. Wok Wok also trying to guide these super minions the other way towards Malaysia, but Caspiel going to get that pushed in. The threat is still there as Caruso also not too much health.
Oh,
he's diving straight in. He wants it, but the safety is good. Dodoy going to try and chase it now, but Becky able to get the kill. A root lands in onto Kanji, is forced to flash cleanse away as Dodoy does pick up Caspiel, but he got bubbled there. Becky may be able to finish it off, just needs a little bit more through the turret. He's caught it, nothing can happen, and a shutdown by the proto belt of Shiro.
And that is a huge minion wave on top side for Malaysia. Not to mention the super minions are also going down mid lane with those kills. They can definitely threaten another turret.
All right, Poke still coming out. Not looking for the Baron just yet. Here is RH still trying to find it, but Shiro again as Wok Wok dives in. Stasis by Becky, came over to the next target. Shiro, ulti's in there, has the golden glass blinking. But now Clyde looking to get the snipe, finds one. RH goes down, Becky out of the way of the cone, but I don't think Superior could be so lucky. Flash bear trap on a rope's gonna get it as Kanji got the shutdown onto Shiro, now still chasing onto Becky. He got pulled into range. Becky, I don't know if he wanted to do that. Kanji shuts him down.
The minions are trying to get revenge for him though. Kanji is too tanky with the extra health from Grasp, and he will be able to survive even though the Philippines lose out on the objectives. They get all of the kills afterwards. Now it is a 5 versus 1 power play for the Philippines, grouping up around the Baron, and they might just fight their way back into this one.
What objectives, Kobe? Don't need them. Just need to rack up them kills and pick up the Dark Harvest stats for Dodoy. Now Philippines onto the Baron, looking to take the first one out of the game. Should be able to get this. Caspiel, is he going to try a hero steal? Does have his ult ready to go. Vision needs it. Trinket in the pit.
Goodness.
He's going to go straight forward. Looks for the steal, but he's not going to get it. He popped the smite, but Kanji just shuts that down. And the Philippines do get the Baron.
Yeah, good shot calling there, and Philippines staying calm during the Nocturne ultimate. You don't want anyone to panic and continue hitting the Baron during that Nocturne ultimate. They were able to keep it high enough health. They stopped DPS and allow themselves to get the kill, plus the Baron afterwards. Shiro, though, he goes in extremely low health, uses the Zhonya, splashes right back out afterwards, gets tagged by the card. So he was low enough health here for the Twisted Fate ultimate from Kanji to be able to come find the kill, pick him off, and then chases down Becky. Nice movement there outside of the slow range. Then he gets pulled back in by Becky himself. Gets the extra kill with the minions trying to take him down afterwards. So now it's Baron, up Philippines, looking for some turrets. And Malaysia trying to defend and wave clear.
A massive amount of shotgun gold as well gifted over to the TF, who's now 6-2 and 7 after a very tough laning phase there. Philippines also looking to pick up Cloud Drake number 3. Siege mid was called off. They do need to take the mid outer turret off of this Baron, I have to think. But should be able to line it up. They'll take the Drake as kind of a detour. And now back in mid lane to get this sorted.
Honestly, this game, big shout out to Clyde and Kanji both for doing a lot of the work here, picking up the extra kills on Twisted Fate and Jin. Now they're whacking away at the mid turret. This one should be easy. Jin ult actually opens up.
Here comes Kled. They're actually going to try and start something now. They got Becky, but not enough after the Devour. Superior able to swoop in and save his teammate. Defensive Nocturnal, I think. Caspiel not going to pull the trigger there. Becky with a big Nova, and Shiro actually got denied. They found the side. Now Shiro, Proto Beltin is going to try and pick up a few, but back devoured as Superior gets him out again. But Caspiel not so lucky. Shot finds one. Tom Kench goes down as Kanji is going to dive in after the root. Shiro in the stasis, but he's going to get taken down by the TFR Rage. Also, straight back towards the base. The Philippines, they find the kills and they'll get the turret. Now it's their turn to break mid lane.
Yep, they're going to open up the mid lane inhibitor here, and with 3 members from Malaysia down, they can continue pushing. This is a dismounted Kled. Low health though. They have to be careful.
In trouble, but Philippines going for the throne. Nexus turret left side is going to fall down. Bubble finds Clyde. That's a big pick if they can get it. RH not quite able to grab there as the watch does come out, but he does get shut down by Vaki. That should call off the push.
Oh, Clyde actually has to be very careful there. Does go down. Now it is a Tom Kench ultimate. A Superior trying to chase him down.
Tom Kench only though, no bubble I think from RH. He tried to find Kanji over the wall. He's still trying to get himself out of there.
Ooh. And this is 3 Cloud Drakes for the Philippines, allowing them the extra move speed to get out of danger here and reset after they're able to take the inhibitor. Remember, the mid lane inhibitor for them is exposed as well though, and now Malaysia still looking to try and find any stragglers recalling and brush.
All right, so a rare moment of respite here as Malaysia needs to look to try and defend these minions. In fact, Kobe, you can take this one. I'll take a break.
Yeah, here's a look at the last dive that they use all their ultimates. Good Tom Kench Devour here to allow some extra time for Becky. And this is a huge play. Becky's low on health. He goes in though. He pulls out the big pull onto the Doi, takes down Graves. Then it's Shiro who takes his turn zoning in the team fight. Both of those used really well. Nocturne was taken down very quickly with a nice focus fire here from Philippines using their crowd control stacking to their advantage. And again, it's Kanji with the Twisted Fate ultimate chasing down another kill.
Walk's a beast! I barely caught that in picture-in-picture, but he mini-Kled shotguns over the wall with a pistol and gets out in a 1v2 situation as the Philippines. They're trying to end the game off that play. I think Walk might have turned quite a miracle here as the Philippines looking to fight, but Shiro, a big ult, finds 2, Carry's gonna go down, the Nexus is exposed with the Philippines. They rush it down, and they will grab it.
Oh my God, what an intense game there as the Philippines barely take down the Nexus in the face of Malaysia to take game number 1 here.
Oh boy.
Remember, this is a best of 3, so Malaysia will have another chance coming up shortly to strike back.
I mean, that game was awfully close despite how it ended. I mean, back and forth all game long. 2 different lanes on either side getting leads. Team fights looking extremely even. Teams getting ahead here and there. Malaysia had the early objective. Things like that was fun. That was a lot of fun to watch, I have to tell you.
Yeah, it was actually during the replay when that big pick comes in for the Philippines and they push right down to finish up the game. Definitely agree with you, Pastry Time. This is going to be an exciting one.
Well, that was a way to start things off, and there's more League of Legends coming up, but I think for Malaysia, certainly looking strong, but maybe didn't expect the Philippines to play quite as well as they did across the board. We knew about the jungler, but they gave away the Graves and the Jhin, and it felt like it kind of cost them in the bot lane.
I have to say, the Jhin as well as the grasp
the undying Twisted Fate
was huge. You know, they constantly got picks. They were stacking their crowd control really well to focus people down. Kled ultimate used in tandem with Twisted Fate to try and catch people from a very long distance away, and they were able to squeak it out. Good team fights, though, the whole time there from Malaysia, especially Veki on the swing, getting a lot of kills back.
I think I've not seen that much clutch stopwatch usage in a very long time. I felt like everyone had the rune, everyone was buying one, everyone was getting his Zhonya's, and so many times between Tom Kench and a bunch of stasis, there was madness happening.
It's a huge playmaking tool, and when the fights are that quick and that close together, it's hard to keep track of those timers. Even though there's decently long cooldown on stopwatch, or I mean on Zhonya's, not always going to be able to keep track of those with the pace of the game.
Well, for more on the Philippines Game 1 win, we're going to send it over to Fish and the analyst desk.
Thank you very much, Pastry Time, and Hyperplay has lived up to expectations so far. That was a bloody fast-paced game. There was just action back-to-back.
That was hyper aggression coming out. 40 kills happening in that 30-minute game. And you guys know what? That was actually slower than our Hyperplay average. So today is still a great day to watch it.
Yeah, you think like, oh man, this is a slow game, but then at the same time, there was so much happening at every single moment. It's just fantastic, and we have to go back to the draft to look at how some of these things were even possible.
Yes, because we saw plenty of jungle bans going Dodo's way. Xin Zhao was taken away. We saw Kindred being taken away too, but they didn't take away his Graves. They allowed Dodo to pick up his signature champion, and the one that we said you must ban away from him.
Yeah, it's strange because, you know, for the first 18 minutes, it seemed like it worked. You know, Dodoy wasn't going crazy. He wasn't finding kills. Dark Harvest, memeing, you know. And they first picked Nocturne as well. So I want to give it to Malaysia. I think that they have a strategy. But, you know, he still came back with huge damage numbers and, of course, enabled a lot of aggression because that was yet another threat that they just didn't ban out. So you're going to ban out 2 threats but leave up the one he's most comfortable with? It's a big question mark for me still.
This was a trap that was set by Malaysia. Nocturne is considered a counter pick to Graves in the LPL, and if you meet him level 6, you can all him and absolutely kill him. There's nothing the Graves can actually do. So I think they wanted to run this composition, but what I also felt they let Philippine get away with was the rest of the team. Was the CC stun bot in the mid lane, was the Clyde Jhin in the bot lane. They gave Philippines everything. So if it was just the Graves, I would say it was fine, but everything else, a bit too much.
Yeah, they got pretty much everything they would have wanted to get in that first draft phase, and we saw them interact very early into the match because there were plenty of fights all across the map.
This one was just really interesting because you saw Kurosu outplay Tom Kench. It looked like it was going to be a straight-up 1 kill coming out from Malaysia, but he doesn't get the Devour onto the Morgana early and ends up giving his life.
Doesn't stop there because he saw ganks going to the top lane. We even saw Caspiel as well as Dodo skirmish in the jungle quite frequently. And it was just bloody in the early parts of the match. So we thought it felt like KLH were trying to set up to stop Dodo from going for these heavy counter jungles, but he was still able to pick up Raptor Camp after Raptor Camp, invaded aggressively against Caspiel, and was able to shake off all the aggression KLH threw his way that early into the game.
Yeah, you really have to ask yourself, if you're going to set a trap and Dodoy walks into it, you know, are you actually going to close the jaws down? Are you going to let him walk away limping? Because he blew his flash very early on. But how did they capitalize on that? You know, mid lane didn't really push in, top lane didn't really push in, and then, like you mentioned, Dodoy just rotated around freely without his flash, and even started burning flashes in the bottom side on KLH's side. So this guy is just not phased at all, and you know, the trap didn't phase him whatsoever.
100%, I felt like Dodoy outplayed the early game. He didn't have a flash early on. I think Caspiel could have finished off that kill early, but Dodoy was able to trade sides in the jungle. He avoided the Nocturne for the most part of the game, and he even went the get rich or die trying build with the poacher's knife. He was that brazen on the map. He wasn't afraid about being down a summoner at all.
He knew that he could take any Raptor camp or any camp of Caspiel's jungle that he wanted to. The counter jungle efforts coming out from KLH weren't enough to deter him. But eventually we saw something that we like to refer to in the LPL climate as Mahjong in the bottom lane, where teleports get thrown down there and a big team fight starts very early on.
Yeah, and everybody just piles in on this. It was a great early start of the fight. You saw the double kill on Veki with the pullback on his ultimate. But I think the key thing here is that the bot lane was really untouched, and you could see split focus coming out from Malaysia. Caspiel was trying to go for the bot. They couldn't finish off the Kled, and Kled got the remount again.
On top of that, we got to see some great plays coming out from the Philippines bottom lane. We already saw them pick up a couple of solo kills just on the 2-on-2 bottom lane, but in this fight alone, the synergy between Morgana as well as Jhin in that match was great, and it seems like the support coming out from the Philippines, one of the unsung heroes of the team, making sure that Clyde can be set up for success.
Yeah, I absolutely have to give huge props over the Kurosu on his Morgana. He's doing absolute work. You know, the Black Shield that we saw, the outplay early on with the Tom Kench, and then in a couple of these fights, you know, he just throws his body in there, uses his stopwatch, uses his hourglass, and it's yet another crowd control that Malaysia's having such a hard time keeping track of. I mean, you know, guys, you play solo queue, you go, oh, there's a dark binding, you got to dodge. Oh, there's a gold card. There's a lot of stuff they got to keep track of.
And we got to see all that crowd control come into effect when we saw that second fight in the bottom lane. Again, both teams tried to collapse into the bottom side of the map. And even though it was a long, extended fight that the Philippines started, you can see the long-range ultimate from Jhin slowing people down. Twisted Fate teleporting into the backlines to get crowd control after crowd control off. Even Morgana finding herself inside the middle of a team to get a great ultimate off.
There were so many cool moments in the fight. The first one I really liked was Veki actually surviving all of this, getting into Tom Kench, and then popping out again to finish off the carries from Clyde. This could have been a complete wash on Philippines' side, but that single hero kill managed to keep it close.
And I know you were talking about when we were watching the replays and the VODs of these teams that the Philippines always look towards Clyde as well as Dodo to be the carries, and everyone else tries to pick up as much crowd control as possible. That was what their draft was in this first match, and in that replay we saw how it was used, and it seems to be how they're going to continue drafting for the rest of this tournament.
Yeah, Philippines' idea is very clear. They want to catch people, they want to run down. It's very ease of execution. You just go all in, all at once. But for Malaysia's side, I was a little bit disappointed. They wanted the cannon in front to stun people when they were coming in, but Shiro was actually never in place for these team fights. They need to read Philippines' engages better if they want to compete.
Yeah, I absolutely want to follow up on that because when you're playing against a team that has tons of crowd control, you need your communication to be on point. You know, it's hard enough to call it like gold card cooldown is down, dark binding cooldown, then you got Jin roots, but you have to be a good enough team to call these out because that's the power points, right? If you're going to build Graf's TF, it's not going to be huge damage, but it's going to be stuns. And I think Malaysia's communication at certain points in time did break down. You mentioned Shiro's not being in position. We had a fight in the top side as well, near the inhibitor. And if we can get a replay of that, we'll see, Malaysia, we're really quite split. So there are a couple of these fights where they want to position, they want to commit to a fight. This one is where RH actually goes in.
Yes, and that seems to be what Malaysia were relying on almost. They had to try and get the poke coming out from RH. Eventually, they tried to get Shiro in the front lines, but the setup for Malaysia really wasn't there. That entire fight was all the way from bottom side river where Dragon was and rotated all the way to Inhibitor. It was a good pick coming out from Malaysia. They countered the composition that came out from Philippines in the sense they let them engage, let all the cooldown ultimates go off, and then start the fight themselves. But like you mentioned, Mark, they couldn't actually get the positions for it, and it seems like their communication wasn't right there. They had to rely on hero plays from some of their players.
It's really funny because I felt like Malaysia, on their aggressive moves, they actually did very well. The chase down you just saw, RH landed 2 crucial CCs, Sleepy Trouble Bubbles on people, and allowed them to take the inhibitor. But on the defensive side is where things really go wrong. Because Philippines, when they're grouped together and you don't anticipate them, they will completely wipe your team. So Malaysia, I feel like if I'm Malaysia's coach right now, I would ban away some of these champions, probably not let Dodoi go onto the damaged champions, and make sure their composition can't rely around him.
And that's pretty much what happened against Malaysia in that first match, because we saw the final fight, how they destroyed the Nexus, was through something that KLH didn't anticipate. Didn't anticipate Philippines to turn around and go for that final fight at the Nexus, which they were still able to win. And it seems like the drafts coming out from Malaysia are a lot more cohesive, a lot more thought out and planned in the sense of their strategy, whereas Philippines looking for crowd control, relying on their carries. But like you mentioned earlier, Mark, the communication just not there yet in the first match.
Yeah, what I do want to give props to from Malaysia, though, is the fact that they rotated very well. We saw them pick up Rift Herald, we saw them lose a fight bottom side, and then just rotate Veki Swain up into middle, top, pressure that, get a series of towers. So that's really, really good. They're rotating a lot more, and in the mess that is Hyperplay, everyone wants kills. It's very important to look out for teams that have a coherent plan to get some of these objectives down. But the Dragons as well was a big question mark. Because they had things like the Swain and the Cannon, they actually let 3 Dragons go over to Philippines. So that's a big question mark. Why didn't they actually play around some of these objectives when they seemed very clear on the towers, but not the Dragons?
Well, Clement, I want to get your final thoughts. You already said there should be some ban changes coming out for the 2 teams. What do you expect for Game 2?
Well, I expect Graves to be out of the table. You definitely have to cut that champion. It's just too annoying to deal with. And if Malaysia are going to play a team fight composition, they need to set up, just like you said, better. They have the advantage when they're grouped up 5v5 all together in those Dragon pits, in those Baron pits, but they need to be there first.
Well, we'll find out in the second match if Graves does get taken away from the Philippines. But stay tuned, because after this series at 4 o'clock, Sambulos will take to the stage for a live performance right here at Hyperplay. We are going to go and take a short break, but when we're back, we'll return with Game 2 between the Philippines and Malaysia. As we go, let's meet some of the players behind Acclaim Empire X.
Ang pangalan ko ay Wakwak, top lane ng nilalaro ko sa Pilipinas.
Hi, I'm Dodoy, jungle for the Philippines.
I am Kanji and I play mid lane for the Philippines.
Hello po, ako po si Clyde, aka rin ng Pilipinas. I'm Kurosu. I play support in Team Philippines and I'm the captain.
My name is Anton Miguel Narano and I'm the coach for Team Philippines.
Wala ako nag-expect nga ma-7-1 kami sa group stage. Kaya bago pa lang kami gawa up the night sa mga pod ko.
I think the group stages is not difficult at all. We dominated them pretty well, I think. Our most difficult game was Singapore.
Grabe gid nga intense na matyaga namon kag kurog kay dumaperde na gid kami sa mo nga time.
We managed to win because I called that Twisted Fate in me backdoor. I was holding my breath for like 5 seconds. Then when we won, I finally breathed out.
We were so happy. They were very, very happy.
It's their first time playing together. Our jungler, Dodoy, is a very goofy guy, but when it comes to playing his game, like, he really supports his team. Wakwak is actually very quiet, but his playstyle is really aggressive on the top lane. Kanji is actually like a very dominant mid laner who prefers to support his teammates on the jungle instead of just dominating lane. He likes to play more off his lane instead of like playing in the lane. And of course, our bottom lane, they're one of the most dominant laners in the Philippines. I've never seen them actually bow down to any matchup, so they're playing well against the other teams in Southeast Asia.
Kapatigid kami nga grabe among teamworks. Amo na yung rason nga nakalabot gid kami di.
We're brothers. We're not just teammates. Our brotherhood is the strongest part of our team.
Namin sa doon may pagkabuang pala. Mulay kagup doon. Si Idoy po ay yung ano ko po, yung high school friend ko po hanggang 4th year high school. May pagkabulay o gado mo na si Clyde. Do parehas kami dan ano, ang happiness na ni Clyde. Sa giant kami duay nga lagi kami expectar nga ano nga makagwa kami. Nakapatay lang namin dan, naka Singapore pa. Di wala kami expectar nga makalabot kami di.
I'm like a big brother to the rest of the team because I'm the oldest to them, so I need to be more mature. If we joke around, we might lose the game, so I need to tell them that we need to focus and respect our enemies.
Masaya po kaming nanalo kami dito sa larong to kasi first time namin itong magkasamang lahat eh. Kaya titry namin yung best namin para ipanalo yung laro.
Kag-intense gid sa katama pero exciting gid sa.
I'm really, really confident that they're gonna win the whole thing.
All done. I've set up your fiber broadband and ensured everything is working properly. Stream a video. With our end-to-end service, we'll always be there for you.